There we are. Okay. I've got to get myself in the right position for this sun in my eyes. There we go. Wrong position. Back a bit further. All right. All right, everybody. I don't know what we're doing. So I'll see you in a minute. The phone's off. That's off. Today we have a very firm grip of the mind, and we do not expect any obstacles or problems. Today I must first give two messages to people in attendance now. I need to talk about last week and next week, and then we can allow our communicator this evening to carry on with his topic and discussion regarding psychic protection and taking care of your well-being. So first, I would like to give a message through to Jane. Jane, if you could remember this, please, you may understand in part, and that is, my medium asked for validation, and he has not specified this to you or to another, but asked for validation regarding events to occur next week. And in this request for validation, he asked that he gets 3 sets of validation, and this will be his first. And that is for next Sunday's seance sitting, that each of the participants in the room will undertake their development for transmediumship. Each medium will sit independently, and I will take them all through their processes, except for one. And that will occur next week. Now, I give this not because of its importance, but rather as a validation. And secondly, I believe we have in attendance Eileen. Eileen, yes, I know you. Are you with us? I believe you are. And there is another lady also in attendance. I believe it's Liz. And I think you are here as well because I know you and I feel your vibration to be here. Now, both of you two ladies have a mutual friend. And that mutual friend, I will mention the first name only, Teresa. And you will know this lady because she has certain health issues at the moment. I am sure you're aware of that. And these health issues are not minor, they are major. And they are not individual, they are quite broad in terms she seems to be suffering almost everything. Do you understand who I am referring to, Eileen? If you could repeat, please, or make your...
Yes, I do.
Yes. Now, I give you this with some importance, please. And that is, there is important that the two of you, yourself and Liz, make regular contact with this lady. And it is important because she has knocked onto the edge of death's door, originally, well, let us say, infrequently, and then frequently, and now often. And it is not her time yet, and she is thinking of giving up. And she puts on a brave face and tells you everything is okay, but this is not the truth. It is important that she does not cross yet and give up. We will have more work for her to do. And even though her deterioration is quite strong and evident, it is important that she is worked with. And the contact I ask you to make is quite specific. And that is, if you can make contact with her and let her know that she is loved and make her laugh. No other message is required. She needs to know that life is still valuable for a while. And this is of importance, and it is almost of the utmost importance. Her time is not yet. However, she could choose to take her time early, and we will not reject her. but there is still some part of the process, and we wish her to, when her time is ready, to pass with, let us say, love in her heart and a smile on her face. No need for you to worry about her. It's just that you need to be in contact and make her feel loved and some sense of humor. Do you understand me? Am I clear enough?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Now that is the end of the messages. I do apologize to interrupt this, but it's somewhat important that I do. Now, I wish to talk about last week. If you remember last week, the medium had some pain in his body, and because of this pain, his mind was somewhat disturbed or less than pure, less than completely handing over of control to us. Now, during that talk, I am sure you would have found it useful to see how an experienced medium can still struggle with some of the issues of their mind. Of course, there was pain because of the medical procedure. During that talk, certain words and certain sentences were given which were very much more influenced by the mind of the medium and not by the purity of spirit. So not everything that was given completely accurately or completely with in its best way. We chose to carry on with that demonstration to prove to you that circumstances do occur. But maybe we can address some of those points which were erroneously passed on at a future time. We will, in part, address some of these issues again with the next communicator. It is a rather important topic, and if you wish to pass this information on to others, or particularly anybody that it is relatively new or beginning their process of development, it'll be important for them to listen to this talk. And next week, we will talk on potential problems or pitfalls in your development of mediumship. Any aspect of mediumship, I perhaps refer more generally to the connection of spirit and its then in expression of that connection, whichever form it may take. Again, particularly useful. We intend that talk gives room for other questions that you may wish to ask regarding your own development. So perhaps next week come with some questions that you may have. And if time permits, we will open ourselves to talk specifically to you. So there will not be general answers. As much as possible, we will answer them specifically for yourself. Slightly different to the intention of the questions last time. Now, I will let my colleague continue with the discussion, which today is about psychic protection. And I will return at the end. You know when you put a pair of trousers on, that you've had them for a while and they just kind of fit all nice, you know what I mean? They kind of all comfortable. You ain't got the tight bits, if you know what I mean. They're a bit too snug. Well, this week's like that. I got myself a comfortable pair of trousers, a nice comfortable mind to sit in. Last week was like I got a pair of jeans which are a bit too close, a bit too tight. You know what I mean? This week's easier. You see, it's just a bit about letting go, really, and about being comfortable with all the procedure and everything that happens. And if it don't happen right, you're kind of all a bit out of sorts, ain't you? And that's what happened last week. Anyway, you know what I mean. I don't need to go over it again. Now, I want to talk about, first of all, psychic protection. And some of this we spoke about last week a little bit or touched on it. And I want to reiterate it just so it's crystal clear, so you understand it. And that is, you've got a gatekeeper. And this gatekeeper chappie is here to be with you, to protect you, to keep you all sweet, you know what I mean, sound, and everything kind of working right. And he's in tune, or is in charge of tuning your energy to the correct vibrations of the people that come to talk with you. So he manipulates everything to put it all right, so it works proper. He allows certain people in to do the work, and he allows certain people to stand aside and not be available and not be used. And I mentioned last week, if this isn't working right, then you may find that if we don't want the connection to happen for some reason, you may find it very difficult to connect with a person, or even when you do, it just don't seem to work right, or you don't get the true connection. That ain't your fault, it's ours. And it ain't a fault, it's there for your benefit, your protection. So if you ever sit with somebody and you think, I'm not getting anything I need, look how silly I am, you know, which would happen, I suppose. It ain't you, it's us, for the right reasons. Now, the truth about all of this is when you work with us with the right intention, and while you're working with us, for whatever type of spirit connection, we got you covered. We've got everything sorted, and we'll look after everything. You won't get any little problem while we're driving the ship, if you know what I mean. It kind of never going to go wrong. We got it sorted. We got the vibrational sorted. The worst that'll happen is we decide to cut it short a bit sooner than any others. The real problems occur is when you do your work outside of connecting to us. So you don't go through the process of saying, I'm ready to begin, and now I'm closing up and finishing off for the evening. Good night, everybody, and going home for dinner. But if you don't do that proper, and you don't do it in the right way, then you'll find that you leave yourself open to anything else that could be around. So the correct way to begin any type of session, whatever it's like, is to set yourself with a nice clear mind. You can actually start to pull up the energy which is stored at the base of your spine. Some people call this the Kundalini. And the energy that sits there can be pulled up into each of the chakra points as you begin to open all of the spirit centers, if you want to call them that. And let them open like a flower. Add some energy from the base chakra, from your Kundalini bit, and then they will open and begin to vibrate very nicely. And then when you come to the appropriate time to close, you close them the same way. But this time you can close them by adding energy from your top chakra, your crown, by washing yourself in white light. This will cleanse and clean the chakra totally. Anytime that you are feeling particularly sensitive of anything being around that you're a bit worried about, by using the white light above your head, this will cleanse, close, and wash all of them chakra points. You could say that this is a bit of intention rather than an actual process. But it is your mind that you will work with and should continue to work with, which will help you with all of this work. Now, once you've opened all of this and we're there ready and everything's working fine, you will find the process will happen perfectly normal. If you open outside of the connection with us and with the intention to work, you then leave yourself open for anything that's, let us say, uncontrolled by us to occur. So if you are inexperienced and you are not somebody that is used to opening and closing chakras, you will find that because they're open, the light that they emit will be a light that will attract people to it. And when I say people, I mean spiritual energy. This often occurs when people are new, people are developing, people don't know what they're doing. So most of the mistakes happen during early development. It don't necessarily happen later. The mistake that can happen later is different. If you do not fully close yourself down, even with your experience, you will find your energy will just drift out of you and away. So it's like leaving your engine running for too long and you come back and you've got no fuel in your car to run it. You'll find the energy has disappeared. So because of this, you will become susceptible to fatigue. You may then approach other illnesses and conditions which are related to that. So if you do not remember to close down and always leave yourself open. Those which are new to this will find that they will open at times when they don't necessarily want to. And they can open because they are in discussion, let us say, talking about things psychic, talking about anything that they've done before. This is a natural way to just gently open your chakra points. So it's important that you spend just that little bit of time, even when you're experienced, to make sure that you are closed up. And this is probably more important. Your vibrational rate will also affect what you have and how you will close nicely or not. So if you're vibrating nicely and you have a strong vibration, a strong connection through to spirit, then you will find that your ability to close up will be better. So if you imagine, and this is, I'm talking about somebody here who's not closed right. If you imagine that you've got a dark street and there's just one single light on that street, which is down the road a little bit, well, as you can imagine, people are drawn to the light. So your light will be shining within, let us say, the dark. And if you haven't closed up right and we ain't there, then of course everybody's going to be in the dark and everybody's going to be attracted to the light. Not negative energy. People think that this is negative energy, but negativity in spirit does not exist. It does exist in human form, but not in spiritual form. The most negative, if that is a correct phrase, the most negative you can find us are just people which are lost. They are not used to having no physical body, and they are wandering a little. They feel like they're drifting. They've lost their spiritual contact, they believe. Now, this in fact is not true, but they believe it to be true. So if you're wandering lost and you see a light in the distance, who's not going to walk towards it? course, everybody's going to walk towards it, aren't you? It's just natural. So what happens? They start to walk towards you. Your lights are shining. You've disconnected from your guide. You haven't made the right connection, and they just give you a hug because they feel safe. They want that connection. They want the connection of something spiritual. They're feeling, let's say, in physical words, they're feeling down. They're feeling lonely, and that's what something to give a hug. Does not a baby, and I'm talking a baby animal, almost linked to any mother that's nearby when it's feeling alone? And this is what happens. So they come and they hold you. It is only their fears which you have allowed them to access, their feeling of being alone, so that they've allowed them to access you. So now it can take a little bit of time for you to cleanse and clean off that attachment, if you want to call it that. And that is a process that needs to be done separately. That we don't need to talk anymore about that one. But you need to then cleanse it away from you. Otherwise, you'll start to pick up their fears, their issues, and you may find that you'll have some depressed times, some times where you're a bit sad, sometimes when you're feeling heavy. As I say, the energy may drain from you to this spirit looking for comfort. You may also find that because this could be a bit of a heavier vibration for you, that you may begin to act in certain ways which are not true to you. This is where, if you are aware, then you will find that you can very easily remove this and ask it, all right, mate, go away now, time's done. Here's somebody that's going to help you. And it's as simple as that, really. Well, from your side, it's as simple as that. We will know what to do when we need to do it. Now, it's important for you to constantly then be aware of where you are and how you are acting and how true your internal or energy sensors are. So you have to do this job. We cannot do that work that you are meant to do. You have to take care of you, and you're making sure you're clean and your intentions are right. Now, there's another point of view to this, and this point of view is also true. And the other point of view is everything is mind related. So really, the need for, let's say, attachments and removal of attachment is because your mind is not in the correct state. And that is correct. But I would challenge anybody to say, how much of a correct state are you in? Are you in it 24/7? There'll be very few people who say that their minds are clear and vibrating at the right rate all of the time. So the need for protection really is more about the need for doing the right thing, as opposed to attracting negativity. Now, let me just say it one more time. Our side, there ain't no evil. Bodily side, there is plenty of all that mischievous stuff about. So you ain't got to worry about our bit. You just got to do the right thing. Now, don't think these spirits, if you do ever encounter anything like that, are there for your detriment. They aren't. It's just they're a bit lost and lonely, and they need a bit of a hug, and they enter the vibrational rate you are, so your average goes down a little bit. So that's important for you to do. So make sure you work purely with that. The other way is to get to know and to be in a firm connection with both your gatekeeper and to be aware of the guides which are around you. So you will have a guide which comes to purely help you with, let us say, mediumship. But you will also have then that guide will attract or bring with them the message or the communicator for the client or for the patient. So there is then the other spirit that comes, and we take care of that vibration and make sure everything's in tune correctly. So when you are working, it is not a problem. Never be a problem. It is not the working hours that are the bit that we're really talking about. It's the non-working hours. So make sure you spend your time working with them and developing the relationship, and everything will work perfectly fine. It is really now what we need to talk about is those people starting off. It's important that they develop a nice procedure, and the procedure could be stop, open everything, finish, close everything. And of course, I'm sure you've heard expressions of opening like a flower, or opening the chakras like a flower, and then closing them like a flower. And then, as I say, if you are best invigorated, add energy from your base. You could charge it with light from your crown. And then you would close it by withdrawing energy from the chakra to your base and washing it with white light from the crown. And everything is fine. Now, it's often said that there is the negative aspects and attachments. So these attachments which can come, we will be undertaking some training for one or two people to allow them or show them how to deal with this. Now, this is for the removal of anything that you don't want to be there. If, for example, you have a particular stubborn attachment of let us say, a lonely spirit, then you may even find, and it is a potential, but it is very rare. In fact, I don't know of it happening, but it potentially can happen. That when this negativity is with you, if it is particularly intense, it may tear or damage the aura. And you will find that some people, if you are intuitive enough, will find that they can pick up that there is a little bit of damage in the aura, and generally you will find it around the solar plexus area. Not always, but generally. And the reason it's there is because this is the energy center or connection of spirit to person. So that can be the point where it is felt and that any potential damage will occur there. So it is important again for that to be cleansed and washed and to be prepared for purity, if you want to call it that. Those people who undertake the work should begin their attention initially in that area to find out if that area is working correctly, by feeling it and also intuiting it. If you know, is that the right word? Intuiting, you know what I mean, that bit, then you'll find you will know things. Now, even though I've painted just a little bit of a negative picture here, a picture of things that could go wrong, it is best that you know about it and best that you be able to work with it. It does not mean that this is going to occur for you, and it does not mean that it will occur more than once if it does. But your roles will be to help and guide other people. So in part, having a nice healthy procedure when you guide them and help them, they may not know why you're doing that certain stuff until you tell them. But these little procedures will help immensely. Now, there are other types of attachments which can occur. The ones I have spoken about are very much spirit-based attachments. Now, the actual other way is thought-based. So thought-based can be within your mind, within your thoughts of what occurred to you or did not occur to you, let us say, as a child or in your past. And you retain that. So you retain that negative thought, you do not clear it, you do not deal with that associated emotion, and in which case that can linger around you for longer. It is thought-based. So you have created it. And because you have created it, then of course you need to uncreate it and remove it. We can assist. And not just us, but there are people on your side who specialize in this. You will know yourself, even if you do not have one of these, that when you are in a particularly low frame of mind and you are in a process of beating yourself up because you've forgotten something, of course, then the potential is, I've forgotten to do this, I am a bad person. And when you start to believe you are a bad person, then of course your vibrational rate starts to drop. And when this drops, again, you have the potential of creating, let us say, a blockage which can build up intensity around you, or really around your mind, but it will begin then to associate to certain areas, commonly, but not always, of course, commonly heart. Because the vast majority of people in this situation, their first instinct is to close their heart. I'm a bad person, my heart closes. Sure you can understand that analogy a little bit. Again, a bit of an exaggeration, but you can understand. So this is the point then when you are feeling it. If you are sensitive, you will feel first of all to the solar plexus. The second point is you will feel the heart. If you are empathic, and if you have been through a period of negativity, and that is, let us say, a negative relationship, you will find any empath, anybody of that nature, will challenge themselves with their heart. This is part of that same process, and they need to cleanse that away. It is thought-based. You need to change your thoughts. But if you don't change your thoughts and you cleanse this away, you have the potential for it to come back. I'm a bad person, let's wash it away. I'm still a bad person, and then it comes back again. This is your mind-related attachments. In essence, it's very similar to the other one, but slightly different. It's not come from us. So as you begin to develop within your process of this, you naturally become more sensitive to the whole world, don't you? So when you begin your development of let's say, psychic or mediumship development, all of a sudden you tend to find that noises bother you, or people's voices get on your nerves, or the energy in certain places feels a bit uncomfortable, or just by being in certain situations, then of course it don't feel right. So you've opened all your chakra sensitive points as a beginner, and now you are open and feeling the world. In essence, you've just increased your vibrational rate just a little bit. But you have connected now to the consciousness that exists in between and throughout everything. And you are sensitive to the energy that exists everywhere. And because you are sensitive to it, you will pick up or potentially pick up the thoughts and driftings of energy that drifts throughout the world. So then, of course, you are in a potential, let us say, a problem of picking up then other people's energy quite easily. If you spend any time talking to anybody that is empathic, you will know that they begin to know things about other people, don't they? They just sit there. I know this about you. I know you're not feeling well, and I know you're not telling me the whole truth. They say all that type of stuff. So they've opened themselves up. They're sensitive to everything. They have not gone through the proper procedures of opening, closing and connecting, etc., washing themselves with light and all that stuff. And therefore they're sensitive to the whole thing. This is why most errors occur in the early days by the inexperienced. Now, because you all have experience, you know what to do about it, and you can help somebody else get their act together, sort themselves out. So this is why it happens at the beginning, and why it does not need to happen at all. Now, I don't want to leave you with the impression that things will always go wrong, and you need to make sure this is because the ghoulie man will come and visit you. That's not true. But if you do this properly, it works easier. And if it works easier, you will have more comfort in attaching to us, connecting with us, loving us. As I have said, we can only do so much. We can't do what you are expected to do for yourself. Part of your work is to cleanse your machinery as such, to make sure that you're in a correct state. You should not be open all the time, not because things go wrong, but because you will lose your energy. So it is important for you to have time off, to sit, do nothing, or to do something more wholesome. The cleansing of energy, the washing away of energy, the sitting, reading a book, listening to nice music, all that type of stuff is all part of that same procedure of cleansing. You need to honor yourself and honor how you feel. Respect and love yourself for many reasons, that one, not just for this. And in doing so, then you'll recharge nicely and work all the better. So I hope that's nice and crystal clear. I want to say it one more time though, and that is, there ain't no evil on our side. It's a myth, it's a fallacy, it doesn't exist. Anyway, all right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to disappear again and leave you all with it. I hope you have a lovely day today. Take care of yourself. Keep smiling. Don't let the bed bugs bite and all that stuff. And I'll see you next week, all right? All right, everybody, take care. See ya. Ta-ra. It is with the correct intention and the full understanding of us, the spirit side, where all of your problems, but all of your progress will occur. I have often mentioned in these talks and in other talks that the essence is to allow us to do the work. It is only when you interfere that the work has the potential to be less than perfect. The processes of developing any type of skill or even spiritual expression, where there is less than a perfect result. You see, on our side, there is unconditional love. It is you that make it conditional. There is, in fact, very little that you can do but interfere. Now, that is a rather deeper topic, which we can touch on some other time. So next week, as I have said, we will talk about potential problems in development, problems which you will be able to overcome and for you to understand. They are not meant to be critical, but rather constructive. And that has been the same for all of these talks that we have given on this topic, on your spiritual evolution. There has been many times that you could have listened to a nice philosophy talk about the meaning of life, what is love and how to work with it, etc. They have their benefits, but we chose to be more directly involved in your education. Hence, these talks have been related to specific topics and for your understanding. They have not meant to be nice and fluffy, but rather to be constructive. I will talk on this more with other people later this week. So please remember next week, subject to time, please bring some questions about your own development. And as much as possible, we will make them as specific answers to yourself as possible. So until then, those which I have passed message on, would you refer those to the medium at a later date if you so require, after the end of this meeting? Just one moment. There was a lady waving to me. And she is waving within my mind to attract my attention. I believe her daughter is here, and she wants you to know that she has arrived. She has not quite strong enough energy yet, my dear, but she is in our world and in our care. You'll be feeling her far stronger than we will be feeling. I believe you are her daughter or a very close relative to her. Maybe some more news about her at a later date. But she was very insistently waving at me to let you know that everything is fine. Now, God bless you all. Till we talk next week.
Very good, Mark. Well done.
Good.
I have a message for you, but I'll give you a call afterwards.
A message from me?
from Ignatius. Yeah.
All right.